good, everybody? Welcome to Weekday Wagers right here, the Tuesday edition. My name is Mark Wallace. I am so glad you are joining us here this afternoon, myself, and I'll be bringing in Robbie Hockey here in just a couple seconds. But listen, we got a huge show. There is nobody better to break down the NHL than the guy with hockey in his name, and it's Robbie Hockey, and we're going to do just that as these round one series kind of get going, and we got a little bit of a surprise going in the battle for Pennsylvania. Can't wait to talk to him about that. At the same time, we got a big announcement coming up. We got a little shift in our show schedule, if you will. So we'll be announcing that here before too long. But you know what? Let's get in. I don't have a recap screen for you. I know that my Edmonton Oilers, I shouldn't say my Edmonton Oilers, my bet on the Edmonton Oilers to score at least 4 goals. That hit. Unfortunately, DG's Ducks did not have more goals than 4. They lost 4-3. But that sounds like a DG thing. It's not my bet cash. That's all I'm worried about. Robbie, how the hell are you, bud?
Yeah, it's all that matters at the end of the day, right? Especially in the NHL playoffs. Those are coming few and far between for a lot of people right now. So, yeah. That was a good night of hockey. And like you mentioned, the Ducks looked very much like Utah the other night. Just a young, unexperienced playoff team, had a big lead, and then lost it late in the end. So they've got some recalibration to do. But I thought they held their own pretty well in that game.
Well, you bring up an interesting point because I know I've recently caught some criticism for calling experience, giving too much credit to experience, because what it really does equate to is just old age. And so how does a team like the Ducks or Utah really, with all that youth, how do they try to find a way to compete and make those series interesting?
Just don't get too above yourself. It's one game. It's a 7-game series. Go into this next one. You know you're down 1. Keep firing the way you were firing, and just don't take your foot off the gas. That's the biggest thing. You got to bury teams like this, with especially those, like how Philly is basically burying Pittsburgh. I mean, Sidney Crosby's gone 2 games now without a point, and Philly just looks like the better team right now, which Pittsburgh going into this, there was a lot of people wondering how they even made the playoffs. I mean, they had spurts of really good hockey, really bad hockey, and right now they're in that really bad hockey slump. And Philadelphia's just been firing on all cylinders since Porter Martone came into the fold.
Yeah, listen, Porter Martone and Dan Vladar, the goalie, he pitched a shutout yesterday. He has been just playing so far ahead of his metrics that he's really been the catalyst behind Philadelphia as far as getting out to a 2-0 lead in this series.
He really has. He's been on his game. And like I said, Rick Tocchet, even when he was in Vancouver, they were very much a very defensive-minded team. It was always – I think they even had a third-string goalie when Nashville played them in a playoff series, and they still beat us. I mean, that's just what Rick Tocchet goalies do. They stand on their head. And then now he has an offense. Like I said, they had a lot of these guys, but Porter Martone coming in is just giving them a spark that they haven't had all year. And now you're really able to utilize Zegras and Konechny, Owen Tippett, and a lot of those other guys as well. So the Philly team looks good, and now you're having to go into their barn for the next 2 games. It's not looking great for the Penguins.
And listen, the chat is popping already. I love this, Scotty. How you doing, Scotty? Good to see you too. Miss Kim says I look like I just got back from the golf course. Who was I caddying for today? Nobody. And as you can tell from my voice, I don't know what it is, but I am shot. And so I am sucking down throat lozenges like by the handful, and I'm getting ready to switch to a little stronger remedy.
I'd say you look like you came from the Carolina Hurricanes game last night. With red, white, and black on. Yeah,
just something to that, I mean, listen, raise a little cane. Joe brings roasted duck. Am I right? That was definitely on the menu last night, Joe. Nate, good to see you, buddy. Nate brings up a great point, though. The Ducks had the lead, and then they held McDavid to 0. Got to get those tough wins, and you're 100% right. How much of that is youth versus experience, or is it just a talent mismatch?
Well, the problem is Draisaitl's back. I think in those games where you didn't have Draisaitl and you didn't have Hyman, that second line that Draisaitl's on doesn't do as much, and maybe you come away with that win. But Draisaitl's line accounted for all of the points last night. Podkolzin and Kapanen, I know they put in some goals. So that's the biggest thing. You took down McDavid, but then there's the other head of the snake, which is Draisaitl. And coming into the next game, you just got to keep doing what you did last time. You got to really get into McDavid's grill. I know I saw his face after they scored their third goal. He's just like, what the hell? It's just like, here we go again. You just got to keep getting in his grill and making him uncomfortable. That's what Florida did so well to him, is they just made him uncomfortable and didn't give him the normal looks. And he had looks last night. I think he had a breakaway on a shorthanded penalty kill and dismissed. But you keep him locked down, but then you got to worry about Draisaitl, who looked every much healthy last night as well.
Yeah, you try to take away one aspect of their offense, and it's to your point, you got 2 or 3 more guys just it's next man up kind of mentality, and they just hit you wave after wave after wave. Of all of the series so far, there have been 8 series in round 1. Which one has been the most surprising to you?
Most surprising, I mean, it's an easy answer, but I would say Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I really thought Pittsburgh was going to come out last night and at least to show up, have a better fight, and then they get blanked. So I think them getting blanked and now they're down 2-0, that's probably the most surprising. Everything else is kind of tracking along how I thought it would.
Okay. Were you able to catch that Buffalo-Boston game?
Oh, yeah.
Game 1?
Oh, yeah.
Boston has the lead, and so because they played tonight.
Yep.
Losing and allowing 4 goals in a less than 7-minute period, and just where Jeremy Swayman, and we kind of broke this down in our video that we did on that series. Swayman was that factor, right? He was prior to game 1, he was 8-1-1, allowing a 1.8 goal against average against the Sabres. The Sabres torched him for 4 goals in less than 7 minutes. In the third period, in a game where statistically the Sabres had the majority of the control over, they just weren't able to get and figure out Swayman. What does this do to a Buffalo Sabres team now going into game 2?
Well, it definitely lights a fire. And I know that crowd, too, was booing them, when they came out in the third period. So yes. Boston did everything right, even turned the home crowd against them. But I think winning that game is monumental. That's what championship teams do. They just find a way to somehow win. It doesn't matter how ugly it is, as long as you can find a way to win. Then if you're Boston, you can't get 2 down. Swayman can't get 2 down because, like you were saying, against Buffalo, 8-1-1. And I said, yeah, but there was a lot of Buffalo teams that weren't very good, which is a different Buffalo team now. And up to that point, I was like, damn, Mark's right. They've got Buffalo's number. And then boom, 4 goals in 7 minutes, and it was just right back to the same old way that Buffalo does things. I do think Buffalo needs to come out and score first in this thing. I think they need to try to set the tone. Don't let Boston try to set the tone again. Try to take control in your home barn. But I do think it's still going to be a good series. I think there's some really good matchups in that game.
Yeah, and I think that, for reasons that I will disclose a little bit later here during Light the Lamp, guys like Tage Thompson, if you're Buffalo, he has to put the onus of that offense on his shoulders starting in the first period, not waiting until the third. Would you agree?
Right. I absolutely agree. I did cash a nice goal scoring ticket. It was the only one I had on Sunday was Tage Thompson, so he came through for me. And I like him again tonight. He's firing the puck really well. He's taking those high danger shots too. And like I said, if you get them on the penalty kill, I think that's where Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, those kind of guys are really going to come through. But yeah, Tage Thompson's got to step up early and set the tone. As I called him in our text message, Tage the tone setter Thompson.
There you go. Listen, I'm hoping that's the case. Joe says that he hates the Dallas Stars so much. That is a series that you look at the Wild and the Stars. They split. They're now, the Stars are horrible in game 1s, by the way, of the first round of the NHL playoffs. They bounced back in game 2. That series is now tied. You and I both said that's probably going to be the most competitive series out of all 8 in this opening round of the NHL playoffs. Has it lived up to the hype?
Yeah, I mean, game 1 was a huge letdown game for Dallas. They couldn't stop anything. And then yesterday, they bounced back the way I thought they would, kind of the way I thought Pittsburgh would. I felt like that game was going to go under. It was going to be a lot more tightly checked game. And it just felt like Dallas was going to come out and actually win that one. And I think the next game is going to be telling. It's hard to get a grasp on player props for this one, though. Jason Robertson's been about the only automatic thing against Minnesota.
Right.
Everything else in that series, it's really hard to gauge player props. I've been doing a lot more block shots in that series than actual like points or goals.
Interesting, because that's a little shift for you, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Because you're usually mostly a points, goals type guy. You stay away from the shots on goal and the block shots. Why the transition into block shots during the playoffs?
Completely different hockey. It's just so much more tighter. And so you actually get better odds too for some of these guys. I think Jacob Trouba last night, I think for his 2 block shots, it was -130, -140 for a guy who, when he was with the Rangers, that's all he did. I mean, I remember his lines were like 5 or 6 just for an opening line.
Okay.
So to grab him at 2 last night was an absolute gift. But you target some of these teams too. Like I look at LA, that's a good team that you could target block shots. Mikey Anderson, Cody Ceci. I think those are 2 guys because Colorado is going to come out firing again tonight. So if you're in the block shots market, I think that was a good one. Philadelphia last night had Cam York from Philly for a block shots. You knew Pittsburgh was going to come out firing. So look at these teams that may be down game 1, or a team like Colorado who you know has the firepower and is going to keep shooting the puck. Look for the other side for the block shots props.
Gotcha. All righty. Well, listen. Let's get into what we're playing for today, because we're both on the ice tonight, right?
Let's say it way.
But you know what's really – look, when we're both on the ice, it's very nice, but you know what's even nicer?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Seabass, the only 5-star chef in the game. We all know sports betting is full of bad beats and tough calls, but when it comes to flavor, there's no second guessing. Bassett's Blends is the plus EV lock of every meal. We don't need a stinking model. Crafted with winning spices and bold taste, Bassett's Blends comes in 3 flavors, original, hot, and no salt, that's going to turn chicken, steak, vegetables, any dish into a can't-miss cover every night. With Bassett's Blends, there's no bad beats, no flavor fades, just guaranteed greatness. Check out the link right here where you can pick up your Bassett's Blends for a guaranteed lock every single night.
Speaking of guys who's a guaranteed lock, I know I shouldn't say that. That's a jinx. But Juraj Slafkovsky, 1+ point at -125. We're talking about getting gifts, and I think this is a crazy line for a guy who just had a hat trick in his last game against Tampa. It's been a career year for Slafkovsky. He has 30 goals and 43 assists on the season. He has a goal in 4 straight games versus the Lightning and 10 points overall in those 4 games. Look, Montreal was one of my underdog picks when me and Mark did this series. I thought that they had a good shot at beating Tampa, and they proved it the other night that they can hang with Tampa just as well. And Juraj Slafkovsky is on the same line with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, 2 other guys who are having career seasons. This line alone combined for 7 points in their last game. Tampa's still going to be down Victor Hedman. Montreal's got the motivation. I look for Slafkovsky to keep scoring, and all we need is 1 point. It'll be via assist, via goal. I may sprinkle a little bit on his goal prop as well because, like I said, dude had a hat trick last game. I don't see him slowing down in this one.
I like it. I'm going to Colorado, and we're going to take them on the puck line at -105. So we got Colorado Avalanche -1.5 at -105. And I know game 1 ended 2-1. That's fine. But that score is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for how this game actually played out. Colorado controlled the pace. They controlled the zone time and never really let LA get comfortable offensively. The Kings needed a late push with an extra attacker just to make it look respectable and cut that lead down to 1. Even then, they never truly threatened to take it over. And that matters because if LA's best punch is not enough in this matchup, and now you move into game 2, which is where that gap in talent usually widens, Colorado is coming off a President's Trophy season, absolutely dominant at home, and this is the type of spot where their offense typically responds. We're not expecting another tight, low-scoring, grind-them-out type of game. I'm expecting adjustments, more aggression, and more finishing from a team that has way too much firepower to stay quiet for this long. The biggest difference here is the ceiling. LA has to play near perfect low-event hockey just to hang around and be competitive with Colorado. Colorado does not. They can win in multiple ways, and once they get a lead, they're one of the best teams in the league at extending it. Add in the home environment at altitude, where they have been elite all season long, and this becomes a really tough spot for a Kings team that already showed how hard it is just to keep pace. If Colorado finds even a little more offensive rhythm, which is pretty much expected, this game opens up fast, And I love this spot for the Avs to pull away at home. Whew. Do you like anybody in that game, Rob, as far as goal scoring?
I was going to go back to Brock Nelson, but after I kind of looked over some things in the last game, his line is the one that is actually playing more defense against Kempe and Panarin and Kopitar. So I'm going to back away from him. Maybe I jumped the shark too soon on Brock Nelson, but that's their defensive/offensive line right now. They're doing all they can to stop that top line of LA. So that was who I was going to go to. I think Martin Necas could be in play. He didn't have a point his last game. On the same line as McKinnon, top power play. I think Martin Necas is a guy that I feel really good about in that one tonight.
Well, Nate says the refs robbed the Kings in the last 2 minutes there, that Colorado flops around so much it's embarrassing. Might also be one of the reasons I used to call it soccer on ice before I fell in love with the game that I truly appreciate now. But side note, your thoughts. Do you think Colorado's flopping, or are they just really kind of playing and trying to take advantage of how the refs were calling the game?
I mean, hey, you got to do what you can, especially in the playoffs. And if they saw a way to take advantage of how the referees were calling it, then give them an Academy Award. But yeah, I hate that kind of hockey myself, Nate. I agree with you, but you got to do what you got to do, especially when they didn't probably expect to be in a one-score game that late into the game. So I think they did all that they could just to squeak by and get out. But I love your play tonight. I feel like you're going to see the same Colorado team we've been seeing all year show up and show out.
All right. Well, thank you. I hope so too. Because listen, I played them the 60-minute line for game one, and now the 60-minute line is at like minus 150. Yeah. So you're kind of forced into the puck line at that point. But I do think that
great parlay piece though.
Oh, great! Yeah, listen, you can just put them as a money line and parlay that with another team. If you were going to parlay that, which team do you think is the most likely dance partner with the Avs to win?
On tonight's slate, I would give the advantage to probably Buffalo, just because it's in Buffalo. I would need to really see how Boston comes out, but Utah and Vegas could be another fun game. I think that could be another fun game. I feel like Vegas still has the upper hand right now after watching the last one, especially under Tortorella. They just better team. And then Montreal and Tampa, I would say Montreal, but it's in Tampa. I feel like Tampa's going to do whatever they can to get one back, and they possibly could to even that up. So I would say if you're going to pair with anybody, probably Buffalo.
Gotcha. Okay. It's not a bad choice. I like it. I hope they win.
You like
it. Speaking of winning, we usually have a daily dinger or light the lamp. We've got to light the lamp. Do you know why?
Because DG gave you 3 daily dingers this morning with Mr. Predicto.
I was going to say it was not just DG. It was the wisdom that is Mr. Predicto when it comes to those things. And we couldn't leave DG by himself to come up with 3 home run hitters. He needs Mr. Predicto and all the help behind the scenes to put that list together. And if you haven't checked that video out, go over and do it. I also have a no-run first inning parlay that those things have been cashing left and right. So that video is also live over on the Weekday Wagers YouTube channel. Make sure you check out both of those for today. Love that. The no-run, the NRFI is at plus 109, I want to say. Yeah, I think so. Nice. Plus 109, plus 107, somewhere around there. We do have. There we go. The little cursor. We got a little light the lamp, Robbie. We got Nathan McKinnon at minus 110. Martin Necas at plus 140. Nikita Kucherov at plus 155. My boy Tage Thompson at plus 170. And Mark, he's not too heavy. The Stone plus 200. Do you like anybody on this list? Are you going off the board in either one? Doesn't matter. Just tell us why.
I won't take your guy. I think I know who you're going to take, so I'm going to let you have him for tonight. I'm going to just stick with Slafkovsky. Dude had 3 goals last game. He has a goal in 4 straight versus Tampa. I think you got better odds with him than you do Caulfield or Suzuki. So, yeah, give me a big game Slafkovsky for an anytime goal. I'll have to check the number, but it's easily probably around the plus 200s at least.
I am taking the guy that's on the picture. Give me Tage Thompson. Why? Because when he scored the first goal for Buffalo against Boston in game 1, Buffalo erupted. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Tage Thompson needs to get going. He needs to get going fast, and he needs to get going often. I expect him to come out, and every single time he is on the offensive zone, in the offensive zone, expect him to be looking to shoot the puck and put the puck on net for a goal scoring opportunity. As he goes, so does the Buffalo offense, and that's why I figure he's good for a goal tonight.
I love it. Yeah, I erupted as well on Sunday when he scored his anytime goal.
Scotty just brought up a question. He said, where do we get the Weekend Wagers merch? That's not that far off, is all I can say. It's not that far off. There have been some designs floating around, some field testing, if you will, as far as possibly a Weekday Wagers mascot. Don't want to get too out over the front of my skis here, but yes, there's definitely some things coming, which is a great segue into our big announcement. There's some big things happening here at Weekday Wagers for the month of May. Well, starting in the month of May, so starting May 1st. We're actually going to cut back a little on our live shows. We're going to be going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, same time, 2:00 Eastern. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will be live right here. The three of us will always be on the Friday show, schedules, not interfering with any of that. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to focus more on some real short video content. So you're still going to be getting plays from us. You're still going to be getting our daily dingers, our light the lamp, whatever it is that we're doing. But we're going to go live on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which will help, especially as summer starts to roll around. Summer vacations start to happen. We don't have to start plugging in on that.
Yeah.
What's the other thing I'm missing? Joe wants a Robbie's Radar shirt.
Okay.
But if we
get
one
that says Robbie's Radar on it,
if we can get one that comes in a schmedium for him,
I can make that happen.
And so, yeah, Joe, listen, I totally get it. Fewer shows, not a big fan of it. I understand that too, which is why this is not a permanent thing.
Yeah.
And I do have to tell you that we are in the process of working out the final, what's the word I'm looking for, Rob? For the final agreements, the kind of foundation structure of other shows. So
working out the details
to get that done. So we're actually going to be providing more content than we would if we were just on a Monday through Friday with a couple extra videos. We're actually going to, I hear you. It's not as bad as it sounds. Just trust me when I tell you that it's not as bad as it sounds. There's a ton of stuff happening right now. Maybe possibly a weekly evening show, kind of going over and looking at things. So we got a bunch of stuff happening. So there is that. I just wanted to let everybody know that we've got starting in May, we'll be live at 2:00 Eastern in the afternoon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But we also have a ton of content coming up there. Scotty Tuhati wants to know, what did you think about WrestleMania? First of all, huge shout out. I forget your friend's name that you went over and watched it at. So
yeah,
that's great. Love that. What did you think about WrestleMania?
Night one sucked. There's too many ads. WWE's bought and paid for by TKO. It didn't feel like the wrestling I grew up watching. It just felt like a big commercial. The second night, I will give them their flowers. There was a few good matches I enjoyed. I thought they ended it on a high note. I thought Roman Reigns and CM Punk told a great story in their match. And I think they left everybody smiling, but overall, I would give it an F. It was absolutely rushed. The talent didn't get enough time to actually do anything on the show. And then, like I said, if I see one more Hulk Hogan ad for his stupid new show on Netflix, I might scream. So, yeah.
Listen, you and I are on the same page on this one. When DG asked me yesterday what I thought of it, that's exactly the points I made. Was it needed more to develop. It just, everything felt so meh.
Yeah. You wouldn't be far off even if you didn't watch it. That's pretty spot on description.
All right.
Yeah, and Joe's right. UFC is also starting to suck. Everything TKO has their hands in, UFC, boxing, WWE, it sucks. It's one of those things where you shouldn't be hearing from the TKO group. That's not a group you should be hearing from. It's like your football team. You should know who the owner is, but you should never have to hear about the owner every other day.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with the TKO group. They need to just provide the money and stay out of things. Let the people know what they're doing, handle the business.
And Joe brings up a great point. I think, Joe, you might actually be happy with this one. An occasional live betting show, like on a Thursday with lots of day baseball, when that's happening, those are some of the things that we are in the works for. I can tell you that some of the things that we're looking at are already looking ahead to fall for college football, the NFL, having those halftime shows that were so popular, but maybe doing it Thursday night and Sunday night, maybe Monday. There's a lot of extra shows. When I tell you we're cutting back this show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, know that we're filling in that gap actively with coming up with different things. Aaron says a mascot is definitely a DG idea.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That's the best way. Yeah, we can neither confirm nor deny that statement. Actually, we're not taking any questions at this time. Thank you very much. No, kidding. Yes, it's guy says those Sunday night shows were awesome. We had so much fun doing them. I mean, there's nothing more fun than live betting football games, especially as you go into the third quarter and you get to see those things play out. So yeah, we had a blast doing them. Looking forward to those again. Let's see. I'm just trying to see. Nate says that he disagrees. We had the greatest heavyweight fights in UFC history. I don't know which week he was talking about.
I'm not.
I should know that.
I used to love watching UFC way more when I was younger, when I actually knew a lot more about the fighters and things. So maybe it's a me problem with the UFC and not a UFC problem. I can't get into it as much anymore.
Gotcha. What are you watching tonight? Speaking of things that we're watching.
Full on NHL playoffs. I don't think my Magic play tonight. I need to check that because, we got a big win over Detroit.
Yeah, they do not.
Okay, good. So, yeah, nothing but NHL hockey tonight.
Okay. That'll be on my radar as well. I will be watching the Sabres game intently. That is all the hype and buzz that is taking place in Central New York right now. I cannot tell you how just charged and revitalized this entire area has become with the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs. They see history happening right before their eyes, and it's kind of exciting. For somebody who obviously the closest hockey teams to me are the Buffalo Sabres and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and for teams like Toronto who are just perennial playoff letdowns, to finally have a team to root for in the playoffs. This is a special moment for me.
Yeah, and for diehard Buffalo Bills fans, you got to think this is taking all of that thought of the NFL away right now. You've got something. The further they go in the NHL playoffs, the more quicker this offseason goes for you to get back to football. Because as long as Buffalo's still playing in the hockey in the NHL Stanley Cup, the less you're going to think about the Bills. And I know that's got to make a lot of Bills fans happy.
Yeah, I don't know why you want to bring
this
down
right now. Those two guys. I don't even know who those two guys are anymore.
Okay, so I will say this. And Nate, you're 100% right. It was Josh Hottick versus Curtis Blades And that was last weekend. It was just this past weekend. So they fought on Saturday. And the only reason I know that is because it wasn't last weekend, it was the weekend before. He is right, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was watching it and my wife walks in and I said, so who do you like? I'm sitting there with my brother-in-law and we're watching the UFC fights. And my wife, who to her credit, she does enjoy boxing. Her complete analysis was watching the way the guys warmed up.
Okay.
And if one was slower with his punches, she's like, nope, the other one's going to win. He's faster. And I'm like, but this is just the warm up. And she's like, nope, I can already tell. He's slower. He doesn't have it. It's not there. Perfect in her picks, by the way. 5-0 in the fight she chose. And this was one of them. Because I'm like, I want to say Josh Hottick is the one that won. He was the underdog. And it was a brawl. I mean, it was a great fight to watch. It was just a brawl. He ends up winning. And my wife was like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah, I know you text me. Yeah, that's right, because you text me to remind me that Nate from my hometown was fighting that night.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, Nate got dealt a bad deal. You know, nobody wanted that fight. I can't remember who he was fighting, but it was like his retirement match. It was like he was winning and leaving the gloves on the mat, wasn't fighting again. Nate was going to definitely lose that match, especially after I found that out. I hate that I did not bet against Nate in that one.
It's so right. And I'm going to be specific because that's a very general statement. I don't hate Toronto. I hate the Maple Leafs. Huge difference.
There you go.
But just like he hates the Stars. And they cut off. Yeah, Boogie brought up, going back to wrestling, that they cut off some of the wrestler entrances for ads.
Yeah.
And where did Nate said that Rusev went from riding a tank to the ring against Cena to no entrance?
Yeah. Yeah, and then somebody did ride a tank out to, well, it was kind of a tank. It was a guy named Danhausen, and I think 6 little people rode out to the ring on a tank. So
don't get me started.
Yeah.
Listen, I said it yesterday. I don't ever want to see John Cena in person. It just is. It's bad news all the way around. And Joe, I will absolutely tell my wife Nicole, who watches the show. I know she does. See, hon, I talk about you and people enjoy you. They love you. Says that my wife is the best and amazing woman. Yes, she is. She's put up with my shenanigans for it'll be 24 years this year. So
damn,
it's a long time, dude.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is.
Oh. It feels like yesterday, hon. Because I know she's watching. Not going to get me into trouble. With that, listen, let me get out of here before I do get myself into trouble.
Yep.
Get out. Enjoy some of this hockey. There is nothing like playoff hockey. I know it's going to be on Robbie's TV. I'll be watching playoff hockey tonight. Tune in tomorrow, 2 o'clock, right here, Weekday Wagers, where both Rob and I will talk about the games that we saw tonight. We're going to talk about the way our hockey bets cashed tonight. And we'll probably, I'm very confident, have some more insight into the hockey games for tomorrow, as well as the basketball and baseball games that are taking place. Make sure you tune in for that. We will see you right here tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Take care.